The fall anime season has been full of some incredible and diverse shows. With so many standout series from Junie Tyson to The Ancient Magus Bride, it's been hard to pick a favorite. There is one, though, whose first episode blew me away like none other. And since you've almost definitely read the title of this video, you already know which one. I've been a fan of Kino's Journey since I saw the first episode of the original, and I was worried how this new adaptation would deliver in comparison to 2003's. Thankfully though, the story picked up right where it left off, throwing us once more into the travels of Kino and Hermes. Today I wanted to talk about what made this episode so great, and what it means for the story as a whole. We open on a campfire conversation between Kino and Hermes. As they begin to nod off to sleep, Kino asks Hermes if he thinks they're a bad person. Kino says that when they start to think negatively about themselves, they start to find the world around them much more beautiful. Their thirst for knowledge grows, and Kino speculates that maybe this is what drives them to travel. In just this short opening minute, the show manages to convey so much to the viewer. It establishes our protagonists, the fact that they're traveling together, and a concept that will doubtlessly be a crucial question for us to consider moving forward: why Kino travels. Kino continues to speculate what drives them and eventually tries to explain something to Hermes.
やめるのはいつだってできる。だから続けようと思う。納得したかい?
This scene serves one main purpose: to humanize our protagonist. I'm sure everyone watching this can relate to the self-doubt Kino feels and the search for meaning Kino struggles for. In just this opening scene, the creators have managed to make their character relatable and set the stage for the story to come. Then we cut to Kino and Hermes driving down the road, officially starting the episode. The two share in some witty banter, making it clear to us that they've been traveling together for a long time. They spot a man and a horse by the pond and head over to check it out and, further the plot. This guy, who we'll call expository character number 1 for lack of a memorable name, if any, goes on to explain that in the town ahead, it isn't illegal to kill people. Not only does he express joy at the concept of killing others, he also says it may be home to one of the most infamous serial killers, Regal, some obvious foreshadowing we'll get to in a few minutes. As our main characters continue towards the town, there's this ominous sense of foreboding. The creators utilize negative space to build suspense in the viewer. We don't know what this town will look like, what kind of horrible, violent wasteland it will be, and this helps put us directly in the shoes of our characters who are just as in the dark as we are. When we finally enter the town, we find it's perfectly normal. This unexpected revelation startles both the viewer and Kino, as we see by this dialogue with Hermes. Morning comes, and we find Kino practicing with Cannon and Woodsman. Even though the town seems perfectly normal, Kino is still preparing for a fight. They're still wary of potential threats. The two set out to explore the town with cheery music playing in the background. It's almost easy to forget about the killing law, seeing how pleasant and friendly the town is. Almost. In between kindly conversations with the citizens, we're shown shots of the weapons they carry, and talks temporarily shift to darker subjects. These elements, intermingled with the pleasant village, continue the ominous sense of foreboding. Though the events may be cheery and normal, there is an underlying feeling of dread. It's a hard thing to pull off in the right increments, but this episode of Kino does it beautifully. After denying an offer to stay and live in the town, the two decide to leave, having come to understand the ways of the country. However, they run once again into expository character number 1, who's obtained citizenship and is eager to exercise his newfound rights. In the climax of the story, the townfolk come forward to stop the man from killing Kino. It's finally revealed to us what Kino has already figured out, that murder isn't permitted in the country. Though it isn't illegal to kill, the citizens will not allow it. And when it comes down to it, that's one of the key themes of the episode. Kino had assumed the town would be an anarchical cesspool of crime and violence, but it wasn't. We had assumed Regal, the serial killer, would be running around killing with no consequence, but he wasn't. He actually protects the town from people like that. We assumed murder was allowed in the country, but it wasn't. In judging the book by its cover this way, we're shutting ourselves off to the truth of our surroundings, and doing so can have disastrous consequences. After the death of expository character number 1 and goodbyes with the townspeople, Kino and Hermes take off again in pursuit of their next adventure. They spot another man resting by the lake, and though Kino was hesitant at first to approach him, they remember the lessons they learned in that country. and decide to go over. This man is the polar opposite of the one they met before. He's a man who's seen the horrors of the world and been forced to kill others to survive. He's in search of a place where he can escape from it, a safe place, where he won't have to kill anymore. Kino smiles, saying, "I see. In that case, I'm sure you'll like it there." There are very few things I love more in media than circular storytelling. It's not only great for drama and action, it's also great to showcase character development. What happens in these scenes is meant to parallel what happened there originally. And indeed it does. And it also connects back to the theme of the episode. Though this guy was only traveling to the town for purposes of spreading violence, that's not what drives every traveler. This man was simply looking for peace. And because our characters have learned to keep an open mind, they approached him instead of assuming he was like the last traveler. This theme will doubtlessly persist in the later story, and because I am from the future, I already know it does, specifically in regards to Kino's gender. As the two set off, I can't help but smile and look forward to the next journey and the next lesson the show will present us. At the end, we cut once again to the conversation with Kino and Hermes at the campfire. This time, we get to witness the beginning of the conversation we saw at the start. There isn't much of note in this scene, but it does provide us with some information. Hermes tells us that Kino doesn't have a home to go back to, and also mentions a mysterious figure known as Master, who, if the original is any indication, you'll doubtlessly be learning more about in the episodes to come. Overall, I really enjoyed this pilot for the new Kino adaptation. The 3D animation may be a little jarring, and the art style is certainly different, but the story structure fans have come to love is still there, and I look forward to seeing what this beautiful world has to offer us next. So, what do you think? Did you like this episode of Kinos Journey? What's your favorite show so far this season? Feel free to let me know down in the comments and subscribe! I'm sure I'll be talking more about Kino as this new adaptation unfolds, but in the meantime, I make videos every week or two. Also, I have a Twitter now, which is a very new thing for me, so if you want notifications when I make a new video, or just want more of me in your life for some reason, go follow that, link is in the description. Like, share, and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye!